and Instagram as well about negative interest rates. Now this is in Australia. This is a phenomenon that we've never really seen before anywhere outside of a few European countries and even Japan. I believe Japan went negative. The key difference with Japan and the other places is that, which is different to Australia and the European examples, where Australia is going to now set an example for this. Now, who is Apra? Now, Apra here is the Australian Prudential Regulatory Authority. So they are the regulator for mortgages and things like that. So they are now putting notices out for telling banks to prepare for zero and negative interest rates. Now, how does that even work? Now, a negative interest rate, I'm just going to use round numbers again to make it simple. Let's say the RBA loans at -5 and the bank loans out at -2. Then they're making 3% on that still. So both rates are negative, but there's still a 3% positive difference between the two. So you can actually be negative or even zero. They could actually fatten their margins or their spreads while still having zero or negative rates. So that's something that they'll probably try and, the banks will probably try and do that along the way. So this is contrary to the advice by mainstream media, which is telling you that interest rates are rising. So here there you can see Commonwealth Bank rates will rise next year. Just have a quick look at this. So this is the ABC. All the mainstream articles have been telling you the same sort of thing. Even AFR is a bit conflicted on this issue. Now, I've been quite clear with my channel and what I've said on my channel. I believe rates will rise shortly, like a small amount, and then they will go negative, because what will happen is it will trigger a mini recession, and then the RBA will shit themselves and tell all banks you're going negative, and these are the rates you're going to do it at. And the Apra is the one that has the final say at the end. They're basically telling the banks. The banks have spent the last close to 12 months preparing their systems for negative interest rates, and because they weren't set up to even accommodate negative interest rates. So that's something that's happened as well. So here's another, just an independent guy. So this is only a day ago, this article. This is saying July 15th. Prepare for negative interest rates. So I've been saying that for I don't know how long now, and another bloke that says it is Nathan Birch. So if you get on the Be Invested Telegram channel, and you can ring Be Invested to find out how to get into that. Now that's a free service, and that's probably that's a free look into the mind of one of Australia's most successful residential real estate investors. That's Nathan Birch. So I highly recommend you get on that Telegram channel, and you will hear this stuff before everyone else. But I've had this view as well for going back some time now. So what the media is telling everyone is interest rates are going to rise. Now what I've been saying is they're going to be a short rise, and what it's going to do is going to trick everyone to fix at a positive rate, and then rates are going to go negative, and then you're going to be screwed. Even a 4% interest rate, a 3 or 4% interest rate, if rates were to go negative, you would be losing money hand over fist. It would be insane. The other thing it will do, negative interest rates, is cause a lot of inflation, so in property specifically. So everything is to do with the price of property. So cars, everything else, electrical goods, it all rides off the back of property. People buy a house, they fill it with shit that they want to keep. You know, a lot of it's crap, but it fuels inflation. So the reason why we don't have inflation when we've got like stagflation is the velocity of money. So what's happening at the moment, if they do lower interest rates and negative interest rates, the velocity of money is going to pick up to a speed that we've never seen. We're going to have inflation. It's going to be like a two-speed economy. You're going to have serfdom. You're going to have property owners, and you're going to have everyone else. Now that's unfortunate to hear, but well, I'm looking at this as Pink Diamond. That's a good place to put some money. Now, I believe negative interest rates are coming. There's no two ways about it. Here it is from Apra. They're the regulator. I'm just putting this out there because this was sort of last week that Apra did this. Apra put this information out there in this sort of fashion. They're basically telling the banks, look, you don't want to go negative, but we're going to force you to go negative, is how I see this playing out. So as I said, I believe they'll first rise a little bit, and they'll only go to 0.3 at the RBA at the most, and that's over a 2-year time frame. And then they'll probably go negative after that. But I believe what they're going to do is they're going to try and get as many people to fix at like 3-4%, which seems cheap now. But if your rates go to -2, then you're 77% annually worse off, and that's going to compound over the life of the loan on the amortisation schedule. So that's the rate that the loan's paid down at. So obviously you're better at a low rate. Now I have all my loans set at variable. Now this is not financial advice, but I have everything set at variable because I'm anticipating rates are going negative, not positive or increasing hardly at all. Not that it's a problem, as I'm someone that has sufficient equity to handle rates going either way. Obviously for me, for most property owners, negative rates would be a good thing. But another thing it does too is it deleverages the financial system. Now you can learn about that. Ray Dalio, A Perfect Deleveraging. Just Google that or YouTube that, and he'll explain that to you better than I can. But basically, zero and negative interest rates are on their way. Apra, which is a Australian Prudential Regulatory Authority, tells banks to be ready for negative rates. So this is coming from higher up. This is coming from the World Bank, those sorts of things, the IMF. This isn't Australian. This is worldwide. This shit is happening, and COVID created the perfect storm for this to happen. So there's a couple of different ways you could switch to a new financial system. Say the US dollar or the yen or whatever was no good anymore, and you wanted to switch to a new system. One way you could do it over a period of time is negative interest rates, and that would deleverage the financial system slowly, allow debts to get paid off, and then you could simply restart the same system again later on, or over a period of say 5 to 10 years. Instead of just hyperinflation going crazy overnight, you could potentially use negative interest rates in a positive way, and I believe you could slow the transition to the new system, which would then save people a lot of money, save their homes, save their bank balances, that sort of thing. Although bank balance negative interest rates not something you don't want to have cash in the bank, you can actually get penalised for that. But as far as mortgages and things like that, and if you have your money invested in the system, so again, index funds as well, great place to get 8% net consistently over whatever time frame you like. But anyway, I'll just put this out there, so just keep an eye on this. I believe negative interest rates are coming, and I believe they're coming sooner rather than later, but we are going to get a few fake outs, or where the banks are going to say, oh look, the rates are going up, and everyone's going to panic and fix, and that, I believe that could be very dangerous. If people are fixing now, if you're fixing your interest rate now, that is very dangerous. Not so much just the rate, but what you can do. You can't move the asset. If you need to get out of the asset, you're basically at the mercy of the bank to get out of that asset. Now that's very, it's more important about that than the rate. The rate problem will happen later, like years down the track. You'll be like, hang on, I'm actually 7% a year worse off now because I fixed my rate at 4% because now they're -2 or whatever. So yeah, it's more the getting out of the loan. If you had to sell a property, you're going to be penalised by the bank, that sort of thing. But if you fix at 4 and it goes to -2 or -3, and you're say 6-7% worse off, that's potentially a big problem for you down the track. If you don't know what the cost of food is going to do, you don't know what you got to factor all these things in. So anyway, I hope I've been helpful. Just keep an eye on this negative interest rate thing. It is happening. I believe anyway, in Australia, we will see negative interest rates in the next, probably within the next, I'm going to say 12 months, bit over 12 months.